Hello everyone and welcome back again to my channel. My name is Gloria and I live here in the province of Ontario in Canada. I love to share information about Canada immigration, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the Canadian immigration questions and answers for international students who are planning to come to Canada. So if this is the kind of content that you are interested in watching, please don't go anywhere because I'll be starting right now. Welcome back. So if you are an international student who is planning to come to Canada to study here, you will get to meet a border official at the international airport when you arrive here in Canada. And many people have reached out to me to say, Gloria, what kind of questions would they ask? And I know I made a video about this, but a lot of people have gone back saying, Gloria, please make another video to explain those questions and how we can answer them when we get to the airport in Canada. The truth of the matter is there is no limit to the number of questions they might ask you, and depending on how you answer them, your body language, your interaction with them will make them want to ask more and more questions. So it all depends on who you meet, how you are how you are answering the questions, and how your body language sends to them. You know, they also study psychology. That's something you need to know. So in this video today, we're going to be talking about the tips for you to answer these questions and how you can answer them. Now, as a disclaimer, this video is in no way giving you like the true picture of what questions will be asked and how you should go about saying them verbatim, that is word for word. You don't need to answer these questions. The officers will ask you word for word. You can answer it in your own way, but just at least get an idea of what and how you can answer them. Again, I am not a licensed immigration consultant, neither do I work for the government of Canada. But all the information that I share on my channel, and especially on this video, will be information that I got from my own personal experience from coming to this country as an international student some years ago, and also questions from people that have just come to Canada. I reached out to them and asked them, how did you answer this question? What kind of questions were you asked? That is the reason why I am deciding to make this video for you guys. So without further ado, let us just go into the very first question that you might be asked. I'll use the word might be asked. So one question will be, why are you visiting Canada? So the immigration officer wants to know the reason for your visit to Canada. As a student, you should be prepared to provide information about your studies and the school you attend. So because you are an international student coming to Canada, you should be able to say the name of your school, what program you are taking, when your program is going to start, and how long your program is going to last for. So if it's going to be 8 months, you should say 8 months. If it's a 2-year program, you should say a 2-year program. You should know the name of the course, know some of the program, know some of the courses that you'll be taking, and know when your school session will start. The next question could be, where would you be staying in Canada? This is also a question that they ask those who are visitors to Canada, but because this video is for international students, I'll go ahead and answer the way you should answer this question, or direct your answers. The immigration officer wants to know your accommodation plans in Canada. So be sure to have your accommodation details, such as your dorm or your homestay's address. Make sure that you have them all available. So for example, if you're going to be staying in the school premises, you need to tell you're going to stay in the school premises. If you've already paid for an accommodation, be ready to have that information ready on your the palm of your fingers, so that when they ask you, you tell them that this is the address of the place you're going to stay. If you've already paid for an Airbnb, make sure you have the details of that Airbnb and your receipt to show that you have already paid. If you're going to stay with a family or a friend, make sure you have their information so that you can readily give this to the immigration officer once they ask you. Another question they could ask international students is, do you have enough funds to support yourself during your stay in Canada? Why is the immigration officer asking this question? They want to ensure that you have enough money to support yourself during your stay in Canada. So you must be able to prove with your bank statements or any other evidence of financial support. In this scenario, I know many people have used a sponsor for their study here in Canada. Make sure you have that sponsor's details, their information, how much they are sponsoring. If they are sponsoring your whole education, they need to say. You also need to state how you are related to this person. Why is this person choosing to sponsor you to come to school? Sometimes many people use maybe uncles, they use their parents, which is better. In my own opinion, I think it's best to use your own parents. If you're using your uncles, your aunties, your relations, that's also good. But when you're using somebody who is not in any way related to you, that may be a red flag to the officer, because they will want to be asking you more questions to determine if it is genuine or not genuine. Another question could be, do you have family or friends in Canada? Why is this officer asking? They want to know if you have any ties to Canada here in this country. So if you have family or friends in Canada, make sure that you provide their names. So for example, if they ask you, do you have any friends here in Canada? You will say yes. Some people will say no because they probably don't have any friends here in Canada yet. But for those that have families here in Canada, be sure to give the information about your families. The next question that they could possibly ask you is, what is your educational background? And why do you think the officer is asking you this particular question as an international student here in Canada? They want to know your educational background, your qualifications, before they are able to decide maybe to allow you to come into the country, or ask you more questions. So be prepared to provide information about your previous studies and your qualifications. So for those who have applied for a graduate program here in Canada, if you are planning to come and study nursing and your background does not relate to nursing, this might cause a bit of lag at the airport with the immigration officer, because there is no connection with what you're studying, like accounting, and coming to study nursing. There is no similarity. There's nothing that is joining them together. So they want to ask you more questions. But if you have studied something like maybe biology or lab something, and you want to further your education, be ready to give them the qualifications that you have. For example, you might have a BSc, or you have something in your university degree. Make sure you give them that information and the reason why you want to pursue that particular program here in Canada. Now, the next question that they can ask you is, what is the purpose of your visit to Canada? As an international student, there is a way you can answer this question, but let me give you a hint or a tip of what the immigration officer is looking for. When the immigration officer asks you what is the purpose of your visit, they want to understand the reason of your travel to come to Canada. So as an international student, be prepared to provide information about your studies, your educational institution that you'll be attending. As I've mentioned this before when we started this video, but be ready to answer this question again. Make sure you have your acceptance letter handy to present to the immigration officer, and any other relevant document that you think will be relevant to the question that has been asked you. You also need to provide a clear and concise answer in order to demonstrate your seriousness about your studies here in Canada. You don't want to be laughing and, hey, Olga, Isa, no, you have to be very polite. You have to be real, that means that you're very serious about coming to study here in Canada. The purpose of your visit is to pursue higher education in Canada, because that is the main reason for you to come to Canada. Which university or college have you applied to? So the immigration officer wants to verify that you have applied to a legitimate and recognized educational institution here in Canada. So ensure you provide the name and the address of the university or the college that you're going to be attending. So if you're going to a college, make sure you have the DLI number, you have the name of the college, where it's located, and all of that. If you're going to a satellite campus, be ready to make sure you tell the officer that there's a satellite campus. The satellite campus is in this city, in this place. Okay? And any other relevant document or correspondence that is related to your admission. So any correspondence you've had with the school, make sure you have it handy to show to them, because there might be more than one question relating to this particular topic. Now, what program or course have you enrolled in? The immigration officer wants to ensure that you have a clear and specific plan for your studies here in Canada. Therefore, be prepared to provide the name of the program or the course you'll be studying, or the one you're enrolled in, as well as relevant details regarding the requirements for that program. For example, you can say, I have enrolled in human resources management course or program here at Conestoga College, something like that. Why did you choose this particular university, college, and program? Many people have their statement of purpose with them. So many of the things you listed on that statement of purpose is something that you'll be telling the immigration officer. So they want to understand your motivation and your goals for studying in Canada. So it is recommended that you provide a brief explanation of why you choose this particular university or college and the program or course you're going to be enrolled in. So make sure you give them the reasons why. Now, you also need to highlight any relevant research or academic interest that led to your decision. What led you to choose this particular program? Why this particular program? For example, your answer could be, I chose this particular university or college and program because it is highly ranked and renowned for its academic excellence in the field of study. Or, I enrolled in this program because it would enable me to be a better human resources manager in the future, or it's going to enable me to be, to be able to train other people to be just something that has to relate to the reason why you choose that particular program of study. How will you support your education and living expenses in Canada? Why is the immigration officer asking you this question? I'm sure you're asking me, Gloria, why did they want to know? Well, they want to ensure that you have a plan in place to cover the cost of your education and living expenses in Canada. Remember, the minimum living expense should be $10,000 for every international student. Now, if you're coming with your spouse, that first spouse is going to be $4,000 in addition to your $10,000, which is $14,000 for both of you. Now, if you have one child, it's going to be $3,000 living expense for that child. So in total, it's going to be what? $17,000. If you have two children, $3,000, that's $6,000 plus your husband's $4,000 plus your $10,000, $20,000, and you just keep on adding it just like that. Strive to provide information about your financial resources, such as your bank statement. If you have any scholarship from the school, make sure you have that handy. It is important to have a realistic and detailed plan that demonstrates your ability to manage your finances here in Canada. The immigration officer, what they want to know is that you're not going to be a liability to the government of Canada. You're not going to look for social services. You're not going to look for support from them. You have enough money to take care of your education and the amount of money you will need for living expenses. So things like your feeding, your accommodation, your phone bill, your transportation, and things like that, feeding. All of this should be taken care of before you come to Canada. Have you ever been refused a visa to Canada or any other country before? You need to be very, very honest. So the immigration officer wants to verify your immigration history and any previous visa refusals. Please be honest and straightforward in your response to the officer. Do not lie at all here, because they know the information. They know it before you're here, you come in. Provide relevant details or explanation for any previous denial. So if you have been previously denied, make sure you give sufficient information and details about why you were refused. It is important to show that you have learned from any previous mistakes and you are committed to complying with immigration regulations. So you could say something like, I was denied because of X and Y reasons, but now I am determined not to make that mistake again. I've learned from my mistake and will not do it anymore. Just to assure the immigration officer that you're not going to be that person again. Now, do you have any criminal record? The immigration officer wants to ensure that you have no criminal history or outstanding charges that can pose a risk to the Canadian society. Be honest and straightforward in your response and provide relevant details in your explanation. It is important to show that you are a responsible and law-abiding citizen or individual who respects the laws and regulations of the country that you are visiting or planning to stay in. Now, we're going to give you a little bit of tips for answering the questions that the immigration officers will ask you as an international student here in Canada. Be honest and upfront. Just be honest. Do not lie. They know when you're lying. Provide clear and concise answers. If they ask you, what is your name? Answer your name. Don't go and say, but in the olden days, my parents used to call me this and my nickname. Nobody asked you all that question. Do not answer questions that you've not been asked. If they ask you a simple question, Answer that simple question directly. Don't beat around the bush. Bring all necessary documents with you, including your passport, your study permit, and other relevant information that is regarding your study here in Canada. Be sure to dress appropriately and arrive on time for your appointment. So when people are going in to see the immigration officer, make sure that you're well dressed. Some people just dress casually, but make sure you're well dressed. Sometimes in your home country, there might be a reason for them to set up an interview. So because of this, you have to dress very nicely and appropriate to the occasion. Be respectful and cautious to the immigration officer, and always maintain eye contact during your interview. You see, sometimes when you are looking here or you're looking there, it shows that you are trying to hide something or you want to lie about something. When the immigration officer is asking you a question, look into their eyes as they're asking you. Don't look down, don't look up, don't think, just directly and face them. The Canada immigration interview questions at the airports for students can be intimidating. We all know that. I know that because I've been there, I've done that. But with proper preparation, you can sail through the process with ease. Ensure you have all your documents ready, be honest, and provide clear and concise answers to the immigration officers. Dress respectfully, be cautious throughout your interview questions with the immigration officer, and trust me, at the end of the day, you'll be able to answer these questions that the immigration officers ask you without any hassles, and you will be allowed entry into Canada. Remember, just because you have arrived in Canada does not mean that you have entered Canada. It is one thing to arrive at the airport in Canada, answer the questions, and the officer says, you can go ahead. That is your entry into Canada. If you have not been guaranteed that you are going to leave that airport gate and exit out into the real city, it's not going to be good. So I hope that you have gained something from watching this video. Please, if you are new to my channel, please go ahead and hit the red subscribe button for me. It helps me to make new videos for people all the time, people like you. And if you have watched this video up until now and you are wondering, I have a question about this particular thing you said, please don't hesitate to leave me a comment in the comment section. I'd like to hear from you. I want to know what you thought about this particular video and every other video that I make on my channel. And also don't forget to give this video a massive thumbs up. And please don't forget to like, share this video with your friends, your family members, your loved ones, those who you know are intending to come to Canada as international students, and they are wondering what kind of questions would they ask me at the point of entry. This video would help them, so please don't fail me in sharing this video to those people. And also don't forget to watch the videos that will pop up on your screen shortly. Those videos, I recommend that you watch them. And please read my description box because there is a lot of information that I put on there, how to contact me and other ways you can get in touch with me, my social media handles and everything like that. So until I see you in my very next video, which will be next week on Sunday again, stay safe and bye.